Since its first season premiered in 2011, the HBO series grew into one of the biggest TV shows globally. It's no secret that Game of Thrones has one of the most dedicated fan bases around the world. On the other hand, one of the great Indian epic, Mahabharata, is not so popular in recent days, especially inside the Bharata. Forget about globally. Even though the Mahabharata is way much larger in content, values, characters, ideas, storylines, and whatnot. I'm not here to review how good or bad Game of Thrones is. You absolutely cannot compare these two because one is a fictional fantasy and another is a great history of Bharatavarsha. Today, I will show you how these two stories are still relevant in modern times. Because without history, there is no future. History is always important, whether you like it or not. So, let's get started. There is this main villain in Game of Thrones, the Night King, if you are not aware. He wasn't targeting any of the war heroes like Arya Stark, Jon Snow, Mother of Dragons, or any of the Lannisters for that matter. He was after Bran. His motive is just to kill Bran, a crippled boy. Can you guess why? As Bran is the three-eyed raven, he is able to look into the past, present, future, anytime, anywhere in history. Bran is essentially the keeper of all memory, which is why the Night King was after him. He wanted to erase the entire history or memory of the world. That's exactly what happened to our great universities Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramshila, Shardapetha, Telhara, Udantapuri. The Turk invaders or the Mongols, since they were barbaric and uneducated, they decided to destroy the roots of Hinduism, Buddhism, which is a part of Hinduism, and Ayurveda from the history. We know Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Wharton, Columbia, Pennsylvania, most of the Ivy League schools. Imagine burning these universities with professors in it. That's cold, isn't it? Why do you think every invader ever entered into India targeted temples? Because they were the sources of knowledge. In another instance, Craster's sons were given to the White Walkers. Why did the White Walkers want babies? This is likely because infants are easier to mold into whatever the Night King wishes. In Game of Thrones, what happens to Craster's sons could be a metaphor for indoctrination at a young age. Why do you think our own history books doesn't display any of the atrocities done by the Britishers? We got rid of them in 1947. While they were leaving India, they left few mentally colonized people at different institutions so that they can poison our kids through education system systematically. The only reason I have taken Game of Thrones as one of the topic of discussion just to connect with the millennials, or what do they call nowadays, Gen Z, and to remind them history repeats. Study shows the reason behind the Game of Thrones obsessive popularity is the number of characters and the way the interaction between the characters are similar to how humans interact in the real world. One of the most important thing that makes Game of Thrones addictive is the fact that it doesn't have one main hero or a villain. As a result, every character is expendable. There are 52 main characters in Game of Thrones. Sadly, I start losing the count of characters in Mahabharata. Well, to start off, there are 100 Kauravas. I know what you're thinking exactly. Do they even have a record of these 100 names? Yes, they have. If you are interested, I will leave a link down below in the description so that you can go through those names. There are more than 2500 characters in Mahabharata. And Mahabharata is also very much relevant in today's world. We find every character's behavior matching with the people around us. Now, why do we even have a dilemma in trusting our own historical events? We are caught between two extreme views. Some people dismiss everything from India's past as myth, others take all ancient epics literally. Let me give an analogy to help you understand this. Let us say that we are in the year of 4000. Due to various disruptions, historical documents from the 20th century have been destroyed. You, as a historian living in the 4000 AD, want to understand what was happening in India in the late 20th century. The only historical artifact you are able to find is a pendrive copy of an ancient movie. Somehow, you are able to play the movie and somehow you are able to understand the ancient language used in it. This movie from 2000 years back has a tall, lanky hero named Prabhas. This dude's family undergoes a lot of trouble. Eventually, Prabhas gets so angry that he fights the system without any support from anyone. Using just his strong fists, he kills an evil policeman, a greedy businessman, and a corrupt politician. Of course, he also sings some romantic songs in the middle of the movie. As a historian living in the 4000 AD, how should you interpret this historical evidence? Now you have got three options. First one, Prabhas existed exactly as portrayed in the movie. There really was such a Superman in the 20th century who could fight the system on his own. Second, this is all nonsense. How can such a Superman exist? Ignore the pendrive entirely as evidence so that you can learn nothing from it. Third, don't focus on the existence of Prabhas. Understand the good and bad ways of society as portrayed in the movie and apply those to your times. The most useful approach if you want to learn from the history is the third option above. Apply the same to Ramayana and Mahabharata. Don't treat them as literal truth. Don't ignore them. See them as portrayals of the reality of mankind and learn useful lessons from them. In fact, as per Indian tradition, that is what we are supposed to do. The purpose of these texts is to help the society for all times. Taking such texts literally doesn't do justice to the immense value in them. Ignoring them or brushing them off is the intellectual arrogance of the small mind. It doesn't matter if no one tried to read or to understand the values of Ramayana and Mahabharata. But remember, for every Night King who follow a Dharma, there will be a Jon Snow who will uplift Dharma forever. Jai Hind.